day to you, my grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. My name is Bernard Donko. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. Now we're going to learn a little bit about measurements, and just like our previous lesson, the preview was for perimeter and area. We do know that as you are solving questions, you're going to find such questions. Therefore, we have to ensure that we are able to solve, giving you the confidence for you to answer questions that involved perimeter and area. So at the end of the lesson, these are some of the things I wish and I hope that you'll be able to do. One, you should be able to define terms such as perimeter, area, diameter, radius, etc. You should be able to identify and list from a list of given formula which formulas you have to use to solve perimeter and area calculations, and be able to understand that area is always worked out in squared units. The formula for perimeter and area you have to know and be able to use them. And then the next one is to be able to perform calculations. So for all of this to work, it means that your knowledge about basic mathematical terms, you should be able to familiarize yourself with units of measurements. They come in handy, because once you understand those ones, it makes life a little bit easier in terms of answering questions that involve perimeter and area. So like we did in our previous lesson, here is a few questions that will help us get the ball rolling. On the left, I have given you some words, and then on the right side, I have given you the explanations of those terms. What I need from you is to be able to pause the video, try to match the correct term or explanation from column B with what it means in column A, so that in the end, we will be able to put together. So let's go back. Now, here we are. The first one, number one, is perimeter. I want you to give me the letter or explanation that means perimeter. Then we have area, we have radius. If you have centimeters, meters, inches, feet, etc., what are we talking about? Then the last one is meter squared, centimeter squared, inches squared, etc. So I'm giving you about 3 minutes. Can you quickly do them so that we can discuss together? Alright, so let's come back and check. This is how I wanted you to do it. If we talk of perimeter, you know we are talking about what? The total distance around a shape. That's what you call perimeter. Area, so it means that the symbol you could have written E. Area is the region occupied by a shape, that is D. Radius, we are talking of the distance from the center of a circle to any part of the circumference of that circle, that is B. When you see centimeters, meters, inches and stuff, we are talking of the unit that you measure perimeter in. And then the last one is the units for measuring area, that is in squared, whether it's centimeters squared, millimeters squared, and so on. We are talking about what? Area. So here, let's go over some of the terms again. Why? Because the examiner will be asking you to explain, to define as many terms as possible. The few years from past exam papers, we've seen that the examiners go to about 5 terms. So it means we need to really get you ready to ensure that you are fully able to answer the questions that they are throwing at you. Perimeter, I've given you the explanation. Area, I've given the definition. Radius, 2D shape, circumference, circle, quite a lot of them. So the whole idea is for you to know how to explain them. If you understand how they mean, it means that you are able to apply that knowledge in answering questions. So since we are dealing with measurement, we do know that measurement is a broad topic. We already dealt with conversions in our previous videos. Now we are looking at perimeter and area. Measurement has also got surface area, it has got volume, it has got capacity, it has got growth chart. So it is quite broad. What we are doing is to ensure that we tackle each subtopic bit by bit, give you a bit of time, a bit of chance to go over them so that you'll be able to answer questions that are involved. Whenever we talk of area and perimeter, we are looking at these three shapes. We have the first one, which is what? A rectangle. The next one is a square, and then the next one is a circle. So for each one, if you look at the first one, which is a rectangle, because they are all 2D shapes, we are saying that if we want to find the perimeter, it's 2 into bracket A plus B. It is the same as saying A plus B plus A plus B. If we add all of them, that is the perimeter. Why? Because we say perimeter is the total distance around the shape. Don't forget that. When we talk of area, we are talking of the amount of space that is occupied by this 2D shape. So the formula is area equals to length times the breadth, meaning we multiply whatever is the value here by the value there. Okay, let's look at a square. When we talk of a square, we are saying that all the four sides are equal, meaning if A is 5, all around everywhere is 5. So when you want to find perimeter, we just say 4 times the value of A, 4A. If you want to find the area of a square, you'll be saying A squared, because it's A times A, which is what? A squared. How about if the shape is a circle? Then the perimeter, we usually call it what? Circumference. We are just talking of the total distance around the shape, but because this shape is a circle, we will say circumference. So circumference is what? The distance around a circular object. So because the shape is a circle, they have their own very different formula. Look at the first one. Whenever we talk of circumference, the formula is what? 2 times pi times r. The r is the radius. We'll go into that as we work. When we find the area of a circle, we always have the formula as pi r squared. So don't forget that. In the examination, most likely, most definitely, the examiner will provide you with the formulas. What I need from you is to know how to apply those formulas. That is the whole point. Okay. Now, if the shape is a triangle, then it has also got its own way of calculating the perimeter and area. So to find the perimeter of a triangle, we are talking of walking around that triangle, the total distance. So maybe it's 6, 7, 8. It means we're going to say 6 plus 7 plus 8, because we are just moving around that shape. If we want to find the area, then we are talking of the amount of space occupied by this 3D object. Then we are going to say area of a triangle is what? Half times base times height. Half times b times h. And again, our answer is going to be in unit squared. So if you were measuring in millimeters, the answer is going to be in millimeters squared. All right. Where do we apply area and perimeter? We already know that area is the space covered by these shapes, right? And perimeter is the distance around the shape. So let's say we want to paint a wall. We have to know how long the entire room is versus how high, so that we are able to determine the area. For example, let's say we want to fence. When we are fencing, we already know how high the fence has to be. The key point is how long is our fence. Once we talk of how long, we are referring to the perimeter. So we apply our mathematical literacy points, our mathematical literacy ideas in real life context, because we are talking of reality here. Okay. Let's look at some few possible exam type questions then. Miss Jackson needs to fence her entire garden. Once you hear fence, we are talking of the perimeter, the distance, meaning from one point, the next point, and so on. So let's look at the kind of questions that the examiner is giving to us. The examiner says, calculate how many meters of fence she will need for each garden. So this is how you approach it. look at the front garden. The measurements are 2 meters and 4 meters. So if we want to find P, or the perimeter, remember I've said to you that once we're talking of we need to fence the entire garden, we are talking of the total distance around the shape. So all we have to do is to add all the values. So it's going to be 4 plus 2 plus 4 plus 2. Or we can say P is equal to 2 into bracket L plus B. So our L is 4. Our B is 2. Put into bracket, multiply everything by 2. You are still going to get the same answer. Do you see how you answer the questions? Let's look at the second one. Our shape here is the back of the garden, or the back garden. So we have 5 meters and 7 meters. How do we find our perimeter? We will say P equals 2 into bracket 7 meters plus 5 meters. What do? We take our calculator. 7 plus 5 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. But I would prefer that you type or you press the values on your calculator. Don't get used to cramming everything from your head, because it is likely that you can make a mistake. So rather, the calculator can help you with that. Okay. Let's look at question 1.2. Still, Miss Jackson needs to fence the garden. If each meter of fence costs 55 rand, how much will the total cost be? So, let's first go back and check what was the length, or what is the perimeter around it. Remember we said for the front garden, P is equal to 2 into bracket 4 meters plus 2 meters. So 4 plus 2 is what? 6. 6 times 2 is 12 meters. Again, take the calculator and confirm. Let's press. So 2 open bracket 4 plus 2 close bracket, we are going to get 12 meters for the first one. Then the second one, we said P equals 2 into bracket L plus B, which is what? 2 into bracket 5 plus 7. 5 plus 7 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24, but let us confirm. It's going to be 2 into bracket 5 plus 7. With close bracket, we are going to get 24. So now we know the front garden is 12 meters. The back garden is 24 meters around it. So the examiner says, how much will the total cost be? So let's do this. We can add the 12 meters to the 24 meters. That will give us 36 meters. Now, every meter is 55 rand. So what do you think we have to do here? We are going to take our 55 rand, we'll multiply it by 36 meters, because every meter is 55 rand. So we'll just say 36 meters multiplied by 55 rand per meter. It means our total cost is going to be 1,980 rand. That's how much it will cost Miss Jackson to fence the 2 gardens. All right. We want to continue. Calculate how many meters of fence she would need for each garden. We've solved this one, but let's go over again. Remember, the first one, the perimeter. How do we know it's a perimeter? Like I was saying, perimeter, usually in the exam, the examiner say the fence, the length of the fence. Once we talk of that, you must know we are talking about what? The perimeter. So we found this ones already. Then let's go to the next point. We were looking for this. Can you see the first one was 660? The next one is what? 1,320. Let's go back. Here it says, if each meter of fence costs, how much will the total cost be? So since we have known these two, we can still add both of them to give us the same amount. So we have what? 660 plus 1320, it still gives us the 1980 that we got initially. All right, so let's go to question number 2. Miss Jackson needs to replace all the skirting boards. When we talk of skirting boards, usually in a room around the wall, they put a piece of strip of wood all around the room to prevent sometimes accidentally hitting your feet against the wall and maybe damaging your shoes or causing injury to yourself. So those skirting boards is what we are talking about. They are around the entire room. It says Miss Jackson needs to replace all the skirting boards around the living room. 2.1. How many meters must she buy? So replace all skirting boards, we are referring to perimeter. Are we together, my learners? We are referring to what? Perimeter. So let's find the perimeter then. 2.1 is going to be P equals 2 into bracket 8 meters plus 4.5 meters. So let's press. We take your calculator and we say 2 open bracket 8 plus 4.5. Do you see when I'm pressing, I'm not pressing things like meters and stuff. I only press numbers. That is what you need to press. The units, you write it after you get the answer. So my answer is 25 meters. It says how many meters must she buy? We need to get at least 25 meters. Look at number 2. If each meter of skirting board costs 30 rand, how much will it cost for the entire room? So just like we did before in the other questions, we are going to take our 30 rand, we multiply it by the 25 meters that we have to buy. So already you have your 25 on your calculator. What I need you to do is to multiply that by the price per meter, which is 30. So it's going to cost us 750 rand. All right, so let's move and see what will happen. We are done with the first one already. We got our 25 meters. Do you see the other way which I did it? If you don't remember the formula, no problem. Just add all the sides so that you get the total. And then the second one is the 750. You take how many meters you need to buy, multiply by the price per meter. Let's move to question 3 then. Miss Jackson spots a fabric on sale. She buys 2.4 meters, which she cuts into 6 equal lengths. So I want you to highlight the value which you were given. The examiner says it is what? 2.4 meters. But not just 2.4 meters. She decided to cut them into small pieces, 6 of them. So look at the question. The examiner says, how long will each piece of material be? So how do you think we are going to do this? We have got 24, we have got 2.4, sorry, and we have got 6. What do you think we have to do here? Yes, we have to divide them. So what you need to do is to take that 24 meters divided by 6, because the question says the length was divided into 6 equal parts. It means each length is what? 4 meters long. I hope you got that one correct. Now let's look at something a little bit different. This time the examiner says the skirting boards around the living room needs to be replaced. I've already explained to you what is a skirting board. So basically we're talking about the total length, the total perimeter. The examiner says how many meters must she buy? So look at this one. On this side we have a value, no problem. This side we have got a value, no problem. We've got a value, no problem. Here, no problem. But on this side there's no value. On this side also there's no value. So how do we then deal with the question of this nature? Good. So what you can do, one of the ways, is to imagine as if this shape was a complete rectangle. Do you see what I'm doing? Imagine as if it is what? A complete rectangle. So if it's a complete rectangle, do you see the top here is 7 meters, meaning the bottom here is also 7 meters. So if already this side is 2 meters, then it means that from this point to that point, we'll be saying 7 minus 2, which means this side is 5. It is correct. How do I know it is correct? Because when I say 5 plus 2, it gives me 7. The same thing, you can do it on this side. The length, which is complete, is 6 meters. But one part is only 3 meters. So it means that this side is also 3 meters. How do I know I'm correct? I will just say 6 minus 3, which is 3. Like I did here, I will say 7 minus 2, which is 5. So it says how many meters must she buy? So the first thing we have to do is to ensure that we get all the values around. So here I've got the 6 meters, 7 meters, 3 meters. Can you see I'm taking them off? 2 meters. This side is 3 meters. How do I know? You just say 6 meters minus what's already there. So 6 minus 3 is 3, and then 7 meters minus 2 meters, which give me 5. Now that I have got all the values, you just put together. You add them with your calculator. And if you do it well, you're going to get 26 meters all around. So even though the shapes are not complete, like complete rectangle, which we usually get, you can still figure out even the shapes that are not there. As long as you can put a bit of effort, there is no question that will dribble you. You will be fine. Let's go to 4.2. They said we must find the area of the room. So here, remember we say area is what? Length times breadth, area of a rectangle. But you can see that our shape, there are other things which are not there. No problem. We can still figure it out. Look at what I have done. I take this room and divide it into 2. So here, I'm making an imaginary dotted line, meaning that I have got shape A and shape B. So my shape A is now 7 meters by 3 meters. That's what you see me here. So because the shape is not just a single rectangle like one nice piece, you have to be a bit imaginative, visualize, so that you can break it down. Another person can actually break it up here, but I decided to go top and bottom. So I have 7 meters by 3 meters. Then the other shape, shape B, you remember this side is 5 meters now because this side is already 2. So it's going to be 5 meters by 3 meters because this side is also 3 meters. That's how you see me getting 3 meters here. So now that I have got the two shapes, 7 times 3, I press, I get 21. 5 times 3, I get 15. Now I add the two values that will give me 36 meters squared. But the question is, how much will it cost? Because they are saying to us, if we were to go back a little bit, they are saying that each square meter of flooring laminate costs 95 rand. So how much will it cost? It means that the 36 meters squared, we are going to multiply that by 95 rand per meter squared, meaning it will cost us 3,420. These are the kind of shapes that you need to look out for because they contain a lot of marks and they also contain a bit of trickery, a bit of you to reason and see how to answer them. So therefore, such questions, you pause the video, try to make sense of that before you proceed. That will help you a lot. All right, let's look at our question 5. All the carpet in each of the 3 bedrooms below need to be replaced. The carpet costs 210.97 rand per square meter. So that's the first clue. Per square meter, meaning square meter, remember our initial, when you see square meters and stuff, we are talking about the area. So it means we need to find the area of each room. So we have bedroom 1, the measurements are 4.3 meters and 6 meters. So we go and find it. How do you find area? Let's do it together. We are going to say 6 meters times 4.3 meters. Then you take a calculator and press. So let us press together. 6 times 4.3, that will give me 25.8. Don't round it up, just leave it like that. So you're going to get 25.8 meters squared. Now that you know how to do the first one, can you do the second one? and the third one so that we can answer the question. I'm giving you 4 minutes. Just try it also so that we work together. Okay, so welcome back. Now let's see how you are supposed to do it then. So the bedroom one, we set 6 meters by 4.3. This one, we got 25.8. I hope we still agree on that. So we are going to just multiply it by the price per meter squared. Remember, the examiner said it costs 210 rand 97 cents. It means for the bedroom one, for us to tile it completely, we are going to have what? 5,443 rand and 3 cents. I hope you got your second one. So let's look at it together then. Area of bedroom 2, we know is 6.2 meters times 5.4, and that will give us 33.48 meters squared. So what we do now, we multiply the 33.48 meters squared by the price per meter squared, which was 210 rand 97, and that will give us 7,063 rand 28 cents. I hope you got correct. So now let us review together the third one then. So bedroom 3 was 2.2 meters times 1.5 meters, and that gave us 3.3 meters squared. Again, we multiply that by the price, and that gives us 696 rand 20 cents. I trust that you did get them correct. Let's look at something different. Possible exam type questions. Question 6. They have given us the measurements of the various parts. Area of a rectangle, this is the formula. Area of a circle, pi r squared. Perimeter of a rectangle, they said 2 into bracket L plus width. We've done that before. Circumference, they have given us the formula. Then the examiner says 9.1. No, it's supposed to be 6.1. It says determine the perimeter of the rectangular window. Perimeter, don't forget. So one side is 149 centimeters, but look at the length. They have divided into 3. There's a portion of A, portion of B, and a portion of C. So look at the bottom here. They said A is 55, B is 99, and then C is 55. So what do we do? I'm giving you 2 minutes. Can you give it a try? Let's see if you can put the total length together before we find the perimeter. Alright, so this is how you're supposed to do it then. So you go and add the perimeter. So we're having the length is supposed to be the A plus B plus C. So when we add all of them, can you see the first one? They said the A is 55, the B is 99, and then the C is 55. The total length alone is 209. Good. But our formula for perimeter of a rectangle says 2 into bracket L plus W. So how do we do that? We are going to say 2 into bracket 209 plus 149, meaning we are going to get how much? Let's put the values together. 2 times open bracket 209 plus 149 close bracket. That will give us 716 centimeters. That is the perimeter of the rectangular window. So now let us go to the 9.2. They said we must find the area of a circle. The formula says area of a circle is what? Pi times radius squared. Radius. But if you look closely here, they have given us 605. And they are saying that the 605 is a diameter. So how do we get radius from diameter then? We are going to divide it by 2. So that's why you see that we have to first do that. We divide the 605 by 2 to get the radius. And once we have the radius, look, I divided by 10 again. What am I talking about? Because I want my answer in centimeters. But currently, my unit is in millimeters. So I'm converting. I'm changing from millimeters to meters. So I'm getting 30.25. Now that I have everything sorted, then what you do is to substitute them into your formula. So you're going to get 3,142 times 30,25 times 30,25. Some learners prefer to say 3,142 times 30,25 squared. As long as you will remember to press the squared, no problem. If you think you are going to forget, rather bring it down, because 3,142 times 30,25 squared, it does not mean times 30,25 times 2. It does not mean times 2. It means you multiply the number by itself. So then we are going to get 2,875,13 centimeters squared. Again, the key for you to do well is to pause the video, try to watch it. Pause the video, watch it to help you improve. Because what we are learning now is to get to the idea of ensuring that for any question that is involving perimeter and area, it does not matter the shape. You have to be able to get it correct. So you have to give yourself a room to help you grow, become a more stronger learner. All right. Let's look at this shape here. On the left, they have given us a drum, which has been cut into two to make a brass stand. So you can see this side, this is just half of the drum. And then on top of the drum, there's a wire mesh or a net, the one that you bride the meat on. So the examiner says, what is the value of A? If here is 1.7 meters, the whole length, then what is the value of A? So I need you to give it a try and see if you can figure it out. The value of A. Does it make any link between the drum and the half drum? So the value of A is supposed to be 1 meter. How do I know it is 1 meter? Because remember, it is the same round drum, but the drum is cut into half equally. So it is still the diameter, not a radius, because the drum was divided exactly from one corner to the other. So we still get the diameter. Now, they are saying that since you know the area, the value of A, find the area of the brass stand, the top. So we know from one side it is what, 1.7 meters, and the value of A is 1 meter now. So what do? You take your calculator, you press 1.7 meters times 1 meter. You are still going to get 1.7. But the answer now becomes what? Meters squared. I trust you got this one correct. All right. So let's summarize and see what we have learned so far. In this lesson, we've learned how to work with questions that are relating to what? Perimeter and area. Very important. Remember that perimeter is the total distance around the shape. Area is the amount of space occupied by a 2D shape. For all this to make sense, your prior knowledge, your previous knowledge about mathematical concepts, basic mathematical calculations, your idea about rectangles, squares, triangles, they are absolutely vital. Mathematical terms, understanding them, they go a long way. And then your ability to use a calculator, you saw that everything that I'm explaining to you, I am using the calculator. I'm trying to avoid just calculating from the head and making mistakes. So for you to do better, I request that you try to get a calculator to work with. So based on everything that we have done now, I am giving you a homework. And I trust that you're going to do the homework so that you can see whether you're progressing or not. Well, next time we want to look at surface area, since we have managed to talk about area and perimeter. Now we are delving deeper into surface area. Be sure not to miss that lesson. Learners, thank you so much for being with us up to this point. I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.